Hello, my name is Nicole Chesak, and today I will be discussing the damages of online learning and how they specifically affect students. We're going to begin by thinking about how did COVID affect you? Did your grades drop? Did it take a toll on your mental health? Did you lose motivation in your classes? Because overall, this is how it affected students. Online learning took a massive toll on students as a whole. It deeply affected how much they cared about their classes, cared about attending their classes, and even worse, their grades. They didn't see a direct cause and effect with how effort was being put into their grades, so they stopped trying. We are going to discuss three main points today. But the overall main idea is that online courses have an overall negative impact on students via their grades, mental health status, and motivation towards their classes. Making our 3 points: the grades of students, the mental health of students, and the motivational levels of students. So, why this and why me? I began college in August of 2019. That being said, I was in college before COVID began and after the rough patch or the main era of COVID. So I saw what a college level is like pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID. And I personally think that makes me a fair person to discuss the impact it had on me and my peers around me. Online courses have overall been affecting the grades of students in them in a very negative fashion. AEAweb.org quotes, grades are lower both for the course taken online and in future courses. Students are less likely to remain enrolled at the university. When a student takes a course online, they don't have as much effort into it, their grade will drop. And then they see their grades dropping, they won't remain enrolled at the university. Unfortunately, after the world saw how convenient online courses are, it's become a rapidly expanding phenomenon that is taking the world by storm. Also, online courses are strongly preferred by many students, making it very difficult for colleges not to offer them. Now, hearing all the negatives, you may wonder, why would students prefer online courses? Students love flexibility and convenience, and online courses are flexible and convenient. If you wake up in the middle of the night and can't sleep, you can watch a lecture, where before, if you couldn't sleep, you would just lose sleep and then be tired for your 8 a.m. class the following day. I conducted some research via SurveyMonkey and discovered that many students prefer virtual learning over in-person learning. They love the convenience, they love the flexibility. I understand that, but they're not looking at the long-term outcomes of it. The long-term outcomes, as I was just saying, are overall negative. Students become extremely reliant on notes and resources, cell phones, YouTube, things that in an in-person setting they cannot use. They can use them as outside study resources, but not when they go to finish an assignment or a quiz. That being said, these students become strongly dependent on those resources and they're not actually obtaining the information. They're just using their phone to get the answer. This can destroy their work ethic and grades in the long run. The second point we're going to discuss today are how online courses affect mental health. So, when I was doing my research, I came across onlinelibrary.wiley.com, and they had done a study about how online courses affected different students around the world. I took this quote from the article. However, the students felt that online education is stressful and affecting their health and social life. I think that very directly says that the outcomes of the study prove how negative that can be. 69% of the students in the study prefer in-person learning. Although the study I did not have those results, the study had a much greater range of students on different parts of the world, and I think that speaks to a much more accurate term, because I feel like when thinking about this in the long run, you realize how important these in-person courses are. Now, although students do overall, I'm sorry, although students do overall prefer in-person learning, there have been many vast improvements since the beginning of COVID that have been done with online learning. These include teachers utilizing their resources, technology improvements, and better communication efforts between the student-teacher combo. But how is this affecting students specifically? Well, when students lose access to group workspaces such as libraries or study rooms, that can take away from many efforts that students have put in over the years. Many students become very reliable on having that quiet space that they do their work and they just tune in and they go. By taking that away, they kind of lose their space and it makes it very difficult to adapt to this new realm of life, basically. All of these different things coming in to our lives all of a sudden results in mental disorders, anxiety, stress, and suicidal thoughts. And that is not good for any sort of student, especially a young teen or early 20s child that is extremely vulnerable. Online courses not only affect your grades and your mental health, but also deeply affect your motivation. As I was saying before, when you don't have that space that you just love to go to and you just go for it, you're not as motivated to do work because you've lost that space. Files.eric.ed.gov, I took this quote from their article. Both interviews and creative writing tasks demonstrated that students overall believe online education has a negative impact on their motivation due to lack of social interaction, a mismatch between expectations and content, organizational problems, and the organization of learning environments. Without having a routine, students aren't as motivated to get their stuff done because they're like, I can do it later. I can do it later tonight. I can do it next week. A lot of classes just have an end of the year deadline and you just have to complete all the work by then. And that is very bad because students are putting off their work till last minute and then all of it's piled up and they have no motivation to even try it. Teachers and professors have tried to counteract this with attempts such as giving awards to continue motivation to students, recognizing the highest scores, or awarding achievements such as the highest grade on a test. But a lot of students take this in the wrong way and take it as, I'm not doing good enough, or I wasn't the best. Why am I even going to continue to try? So it's counteracting what it was meant to do. With the decreased motivation, this leads to students becoming more reluctant to contact their teachers about things they don't understand and more scared to ask questions. Then they don't understand and their grades drop. All of these points are connected in their own ways. And when you have one problem, you have the other two without possibly even knowing it yet. In conclusion, online learning can negatively affect students by taking a toll on their grades, mental health, and motivation to succeed in their courses. And here are my references.